Netflix is adding a ton of stuff in December 2022, including Bullet Train, Knives Out 2, and a spin-off of The Witcher. In this video, I'm going to be telling you about all the stuff of interest coming to Netflix in December. We're going to be skipping over all the reality shows and all the crappy Christmas movies and just talking about the coolest stuff getting added, which includes a ton of new releases this month. But right now, we're going to start off with everything they're adding on December 1st, which unusually is not that much. Normally, they dump a bunch of old movies on the 1st. They're not doing that this December, and I think it's because they're adding so many new things. And they start December 1st off with a bang with a new Netflix original from Norway called Troll. And no, this is not about people who say mean things on the internet. This is about gigantic trolls. Some of you may remember the movie Troll Hunter, which also comes from Norway. I've recommended it here on the channel plenty of times. This looks like it's based on similar folklore, but instead of a mockumentary style comedy like Troll Hunter, this looks like a big budget, spectacular Netflix original. In fact, out of everything coming to the platform this month, this is one of my top picks, or at least one I'm the most interested in. And as I said on the 1st, that's where they add most of the things you're familiar with. They're also going to be adding 21 Jump Street on the 1st, which is funny enough, especially if you've only seen it the one time. They're also adding Coach Carter with Samuel L. Jackson, and My Girl, the original from 1991. I don't know that I've ever seen that one available on a streaming service ever. Jennifer Garner returns in Peppermint. This was on Netflix before, now it's coming back. Same goes for the Happy Time Murders, which again, funny enough for at least one watch. And they're also adding Troy, starring Brad Pitt and a bunch of other famous people. Firefly Lane comes back for season 2, or rather part 1 of season 2. Not a recommendation from me, but I know a handful of my viewers did enjoy the first season. And if you did like that, you might also be interested in Lady Chatterley's Lover. This is based on the classic novel by D.H. Lawrence and looks like a beautiful Netflix production. Scrooge, A Christmas Carol is a new animated version of A Christmas Carol because for some reason they have to have a brand new one of these come out every year. This is the one we've got this year. And then Senior is a documentary that I think all rabid Robert Downey Jr. fans should enjoy. It's about his late father, Robert Downey Sr., who was a filmmaker, and it looks like they explore a lot of his career in filmmaking, so that should be interesting for movie buffs and, again, fans of Robert Downey Jr. And then we're still on December 2nd here. They're adding Warriors of Future, which is a big budget Chinese action movie. I've recommended several big budget Chinese action movies on Netflix over the years, including The Wandering Earth. This looks like it's gonna fall right in line with those, so I'll definitely be checking it out. And then on December 3rd, they're adding one of the biggest new release movies they've added maybe all year, Bullet Train.
Hey, this is nice.
Now, the reason I say it's one of the biggest is because this is one of the biggest action movies to hit theaters this year, at least one of the biggest that's not a Marvel release, and it's coming basically straight to Netflix. This just hit the rental market a few weeks ago. It's already on Netflix. This is highly unusual. But it's likely an effort to regain some subscribers because they've been hemorrhaging them if you hadn't noticed. Bullet Train is a wild, fun, over-the-top action movie. It never forgets to be entertaining or funny and is packed with top-notch action. This is not a brilliant movie or anything like that, but I have watched it several times and it is a blast to watch all the way through. Obviously, Brad Pitt's great, but you get a bunch of other really fantastic character performances, including one from Aaron Taylor Johnson that is fantastic, and Michael Shannon absolutely kills it in this movie once he shows up. Again, this is just a fun, over-the-top, wild action ride from the director of Deadpool 2, so it's gonna be one of the top picks coming to Netflix this month. Sebastian Maniscalco adds a new Netflix special called Is It Me? He is one of the top selling stand-up comedians in the world today, and the new special should be pretty funny. They're also going to be adding a movie for the kids called Storks, which is actually a really funny movie to watch with them. Also for the kids, they're adding Boss Baby Christmas Bonus, which is a mini-series that's Christmas-based, which should be good enough to put on during the holiday season. And then on the 7th, they add another movie that was just recently out in theaters, even though it's a smaller one, Emily the Criminal.
In the next hour, you will make 200 cash, but you will have to do something illegal. You won't be in danger, but you will be breaking the law.
Yo, you gonna pay for that?
Sorry?
Now, this is one I almost got out to the theater to see, mainly because I'm such a big fan of Aubrey Plaza. I love almost everything that she does, and this is a very different type of story for her to be in, playing a very different character than she normally plays. So I will definitely be checking out Emily the Criminal on the 7th. It looks like a very raw, realistic crime movie. And that's not it for the theatrical releases. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio gets added on the 9th. This is currently in select theaters around the country. I have not seen it yet, but from what I have heard, it is a spectacular, stunning stop-motion animation movie, and is also an unusual telling of Pinocchio. It is very Guillermo del Toro from what I hear, so I cannot wait to check this one out. And then also on the 9th, they're bringing Money Heist Korea back for part 2. December 10th adds Prisoners, which is a movie I love. This is directed by Denis Villeneuve, who also did Arrival, Blade Runner 2049, and Dune. This too is a very raw crime movie about a couple of girls who disappear and their fathers take matters into their own hands. It is much more grounded and realistic and visceral than most kidnapping movies tend to be. It is upsetting, but it is beautifully directed at the same time. Now, I'm probably saying this wrong, but on the 13th, they add Guadetama, an excellent adventure, which looks like an amazing little animated series for the kids that I will definitely be checking out with mine, just because of how wild the animation looks with this chicken and the egg. It's definitely got my interest, again, for something to watch with the kids. Tom Papa returns with another Netflix original, What a Day. He is one of the funniest clean comedians working today. There's not many that work without dirty jokes, and most of them are not very good. There's only a few that are pretty excellent. He is easily one of the best. But if that's too clean for you, on December 17th, they're adding Who Killed Santa? A Murderville Mystery. Now, if you didn't catch season 1 of Murderville on Netflix, you still can. It's there to watch. Will Arnett stars in this, and it is an unscripted or somewhat unscripted cop drama. Technically, it's a comedy, but what he does is he brings in these comedy actors and tells them nothing, doesn't give them a script. He sort of fumbles through an investigation with them, and they have to improvise everything. It's a really clever way to do an improv comedy show, and Will Arnett is fantastic. If you're a fan of his, check out Murderville Season 1 and the new Christmas special, which also stars Jason Bateman and should be fantastic. Okay, another major new release coming to Netflix this month arrives on the 16th. It's called Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths. Now, this is going to be for the film buffs and art movie lovers. This is from the same director as Roma, The Revenant, and Birdman, and looks like it has a lot in common with Birdman. This is going to be Spanish language and looks like it mostly takes place in a dream, but most of what I'm seeing in the trailers looks like it's all happening in camera. Even if this movie doesn't make a ton of sense on the first viewing, it should be absolutely dazzling to watch. If you're a fan of Alejandro Iñárritu's work, then you should definitely be checking this one out on the 16th. But if you're not into the art film scene, you might be interested in a new Netflix original series titled The Recruit. This looks like it's based on the same basic concept as the Al Pacino, Colin Farrell movie The Recruit. It's about a new CIA recruit that uncovers a conspiracy. It looks like a pretty solid espionage series, even if it's a little bit generic looking. The 18th brings one of the most surprising movies Steven Soderbergh has done in the last 10 years or so, Side Effects.
There's been an incident.
What do we do?
No sign of forced entry, no sign of struggle.
Where's her lawyer?
She doesn't have one. Just kept talking about you.
This is a Hitchcockian thriller that I absolutely loved. It is Steven Soderbergh, so it's filmed a little bit plain and straightforward, but that actually works to elevate this story. But this is a dark, twisted thriller with an incredible cast, and I don't just mean twisted in that people are doing twisted things. It is that, but it is packed with twists, and they're all perfectly executed by Steven Soderbergh and this killer cast. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend Side Effects. If the new Netflix original Troll doesn't give you your troll fix, then on the 19th you can watch Trolls with your kids. If you didn't watch this one, I think it is a fantastic animated movie to watch with the kids. They love it. It's got a great soundtrack to it and a pretty funny setup as well. I've enjoyed watching this one with my kids over the years, and it's been a while. Maybe we'll watch it again. Then on the 22nd, a highly underrated Netflix original series from Japan returns for season 2, Alice in Borderland. Now, if you did not see season 1, I still highly recommend it. In fact, this show has the most in common with Squid Game. A group of people get thrown into what appears to be some sort of virtual reality game and have to survive. The games are set up somewhat similarly to Squid Game, yet the execution of the show is fairly different. It's more sci-fi, more over the top, more spectacular in a lot of ways, and still very clever. The way the main characters figure out how to escape these games is always something different than you might expect going into them. There's always a twist or two, they're always interesting, and season 2 looks like it's even more spectacular than season 1. Then on the 23rd, they're adding the thing that they're probably the most proud of this month, even if it's not going to be the best thing on this particular list, Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery.
Because tonight, a murder will be committed. My murder.
Once you're dead, will we still be able to talk to you?
Yeah, I'm not playing dead the whole weekend, dude.
Well, this is truly delightful.
Now, this is Knives Out 2, and yes, it is a Netflix original, and yes, it is in theaters right now. There's a good chance you could go see it in a theater near you today and not wait for the Netflix release. However, I have heard that it is worth waiting for Netflix. I've heard good things, but good in the Netflix original sense, meaning it's probably an exceptional Netflix original movie. You might be disappointed if you fork over money to go see it in a theater.
Deal with it.
Then on Christmas Day, December 25th, they're adding Matilda the Musical. I love the original Matilda movie. I've watched it with my kids, and I still think it's hilarious and clever and a fantastic movie to watch. I personally am not big on musicals, but my 4-year-old daughter absolutely loves them, so there's a very good chance I will be watching this movie on Christmas Day. But I can wash the taste of that musical off my brain later that night with the new Witcher spin-off miniseries, Blood Origins. Not only does this look absolutely badass, but it also stars Michelle Yeoh, which would have been an amazing get for them no matter what, but she's just coming off of Everything Everywhere All at Once. She's literally as hot as she's maybe ever been, so for her to star in this makes this series even cooler. Hopefully, it's nearly as good as The Witcher, at least. The 26th adds a new mini-series from England called Treason. This is a 5-part series where Charlie Cox from Daredevil plays an MI6 agent who gets wrapped up in a conspiracy or something like that. I tend to find that these shorter run mini-series from the UK tend to be pretty fantastic, so I'll be giving this one a shot. And then they're also going to be adding No Escape, which is a fantastic thriller starring Owen Wilson and Lake Bell. There's a lot of action in it and a lot of really tense sequences. Again, it's a little bit middle of the road. It's a little bit too much of a crowd pleaser to be like a slam dunk of a movie, but it's still a pretty killer thriller, and Pierce Brosnan has a fantastic role in this movie. And then on the 30th, they add another big Netflix original movie that I'm personally very excited about. It's titled White Noise.
Do sheep have lashes?
Ask your father.
We're going sideways.
Dad, do sheep have lashes?
Doesn't anyone want to pay attention to what's actually happening?
Now this is from director Noah Baumbach, whose last film was Marriage Story, which also starred Adam Driver. And while this is probably going to appeal most to the art film crowd, it looks like one of his weirdest movies by far. This story follows a contemporary American family as they're trying to navigate some sort of disaster. Based on the trailers, it looks like some sort of chemical spill, but it appears to be much more strange than other Noah Baumbach films, so I'm definitely interested in this one. The trailer looks absolutely stunning. I was a little more interested in this one when they were hiding a lot of the details back when they first started teasing it months back, but still, at the very least, this one looks like it has quite a bit of merit, even if I end up not really liking where the story goes. And then finally, they're adding a mystery thriller from Spain, which I have loved all of the Spain thrillers I've seen on Netflix over the years. This one is called God's Crooked Lines. Right now, there is no release date, but this one is a murder mystery that takes place inside a psychiatric ward, so if you end up not connecting with Glass Onion, this movie may actually scratch that same itch. Whenever they release it, there's not a release date yet. But speaking of dates, here is everything leaving Netflix during the month of November. If you're new to the channel, welcome, but the date listed is not the last day you can watch it. It's already gone once that date ticks over at midnight, so make sure you watch any of these titles you're interested in before the date listed. I've gone ahead and put a few of them in bold. These are ones I've recommended on the channel over the past year or so. But that's the video. I'm gonna keep making these as long as you keep watching them. Thanks for checking out this special Netflix episode, and you will see me on the next one.